I have a long history of making content on bad crowdfunding projects. For years, I used to sprinkle a few of those puppies in there, just a little something to satisfy my sweet tooth, a nice little junk food. It was always so silly and fun, but I don't do that content as much anymore because there is such an overabundance of blatant scams and just fraudulent projects that will never actually come to fruition that people still just can't help but to dump their wallet out in hopes that they'll get delivered this panacea that they're being promised, or this life-changing invention straight from Jimmy Neutron's lab. And it's just not fun anymore. It's just kind of sad. But today I got recommended a video from YouTube's mysterious algorithm about a rare futuristic e-bike from a channel called Berm Peak. And I recognized the e-bike from an old Indiegogo campaign called reevo. This fantasy factory fuck-up raised over $6.5 million, and then the company just disappeared, leaving their backers in the dark. And they did actually deliver some product, but I never actually bothered to follow up on it. And then randomly today, I got this video from Berm Peak, who reviews it and calls it the worst bicycle ever made. But first, let's jog your memory. What is the reevo, and why did people go feral throwing their money at it?
If you could design your own e-bike, how would you do it? Would it be classy, sexy, or perhaps a bold new design that's elegant yet functional? Want to know more? Introducing reevo, the hubless e-bike.
They treat the marketing for this bike like they're trying to advertise the new Avengers movie here. It just goes so Insano style for no reason at all. And it worked. It was gripping. It had people by the nutsack begging them to put money into this.
You'll be turning heads with reevo's amazingly unique design. The patent-pending hubless wheels are crafted from aerospace-grade alloys and engineered for maximum durability. reevo also rides and handles exceptionally well, thanks to a strong lightweight core. Feel the need for speed? Simply rev the throttle and watch the world slow down.
Engineered by Galileo, brought back to life by our patent-pending necromancy technology, we crafted the reevo out of alloys and polymers that haven't been identified on this planet yet from the year 3000. And the reevo is everything you thought impossible made possible. But it's not made yet. We need your clams in order for it to be in the corporeal realm. Eventually. Maybe it might. That's the beauty of crowdfunding. There's a good chance it just never exists.
Or, if you prefer, use the incredibly clever pedal assist that adapts to road gradient and provides you with a gentle boost that feels so natural. Ever feel anxious about leaving your bike alone? We feel you. Simply use your fingerprint to lock the bike. A strong wheel lock deploys automatically, out of reach from bolt cutters. No more carrying bulky chains around.
Far be it from me, a simpleton, to question the experts at the reevo think tank. That headquarters must have incalculable neurons firing at all times. But, if I may posit, what stops a thief from just picking it up and carrying it away? Yeah, you have a fingerprint scanner, that's awesome. Yeah, maybe it also pops out like a retina scanner and then like a taste bud scanner to ensure that it's you behind it, all this biometric data that it's collecting. But it doesn't, like, the beauty of a chain in a bike is you chain it to something so they can't just walk off with it. Here they can. And in order to solve the problem of them walking off with it, you'd still have to chain it to something, so it doesn't get rid of the need for the chain, you know what I mean? Now, based on the Berm Peak video, I know the answer to this question. No one would ever want to fucking steal it, because it's basically just an elaborate way of killing yourself. Also, it weighs like 2,000 pounds. It's apparently extremely heavy. It's not actually 2,000 pounds, I'm exaggerating, but this thing is like Thor's hammer. Like, it is very fucking heavy, apparently. So maybe that's a part of the anti-theft technologies. It's so heavy, no one would actually want to carry it away. They'd be too exhausted.
An intelligent motion detector activates when the bike is parked. It sounds an alarm and notifies you when someone tries to move your reevo. But we didn't stop there. An integrated GPS also anchors the bike to its parking spot and lets you track its location in real time. Your reevo is yours and yours alone.
In fact, it's not even yours to begin with, because a lot of people never got the reevo that they thought they had paid for through the crowdfunding. Also, I love the idea that it sounds a fucking alarm. Step away from the reevo! We have contacted Judge Dredd. You will be executed. Step away from the reevo.
That raised over $6.7 million on Indiegogo before the company up and vanished, leaving everybody who ordered one without a bicycle or asking for a refund, except for the customer who bought this bicycle. He sold it to me on eBay at a loss after seemingly not riding it at all.
Which is why that eBay seller is probably still alive to tell the tale, because he didn't ride this fucking thing. This is a story as old as time. It's just so standard, unfortunately, where a crowdfunding campaign is extremely successful, rakes in tons and tons of money, oodles of cash, and then the product either never gets delivered, somewhat gets delivered but not what was advertised, or, in a case like this, the company and the people behind it, they just poof out of existence.
From what I can find, of the 2,700 people who ordered a reevo hubless bicycle, only about 150 actually got them delivered before everything fell apart. Today, the comment section's full of would-be customers desperately trying to contact Revo. And if you visit Revo's social pages, it's just more of the same. But their website is truly damning, a GoDaddy parking page. That's an obituary if I've ever seen one.
Well, let's not jump the gun here. Hold your horses. Just because they haven't maintained the website doesn't necessarily mean that they just left. Maybe they're planning a huge comeback and they wanted people to be privy to the fact that the hosting isn't paid for anymore. Because they're doing the Revo 2.0, baby. This time, no wheels. It's going to float with just dreams. And that's all you need.
So right now the motor is not on, and with great difficulty I am pedaling it. Can you believe how loud it is?
How would that ever even make it into the hands of someone that put money into this project? That is embarrassing. That shit sounds like an Aztec death whistle. That is shockingly loud. Lawnmowers are quieter. Even just setting aside the dump truck sound that it's making, it's apparently very hard to pedal. Which is the number one thing bikes need to be good at. Pedaling. Using it like a bike. That's actually step one, and they fucked it up somehow. They failed on that front. How would this ever make it past testing? I don't get it. I guess they were really just putting all their eggs in the basket of that, pedal assist feature, but most people who are going to buy this bike are cyclists. They're going to want to pedal it. That's the whole point of riding a bicycle. I recognize it's an e-bike, so it's a little different, but I still don't think people want it to just be like a fucking electric scooter, but with the option of miserably pedaling it and burning out your fucking quads.
Oh, the second you start pedaling this thing, you start noticing a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna try and break it down. Let's start with the wheels, because I think that's a lot of where it's stemming from. Any bike, even e-bikes, they just roll, right? As soon as you stop pedaling, it just rolls on forever. It's like gliding. You just feel the resistance every step of the way on this thing, whether or not you're pedaling. Look at this.
Get some WD-40 on that bitch stat. It's a wheel that can't even function as a wheel. They reinvented the wheel and made it worse. So it's airless. It's an airless tire, which already I think is just kind of silly. You just have hard rubber around this fucking donut that's not ever going to feel good at all. You're just going to be absorbing all of that impact on it. I don't know how they wouldn't have known that. Surely somebody hopped in the brazen bull, right? Somebody at the Revo facility must have tested this to some degree. They clearly had engineers working on it. They did make some. So there was a team. It wasn't just, Goober in his garage put this together with toothpicks and, a stick of gum. So how the fuck did it end up like this?
They even advertise its lightweight core. This is one of the heaviest bicycles I've ever picked up in my life. They say it's like 70 something pounds. I think it's heavier. And I'm gonna start applying my brakes right here. Let's see how long it takes me to stop. That was a full-on emergency stop. I had both of my entire hands on the brake levers, gripping them as hard as I could, and it could barely stop the bike.
It looks more like you're riding a missile than a bike. It doesn't really emergency stop very well. It weighs 70 pounds plus potentially. Yeah, I mean, that's just not super safe at all. Even just setting everything else aside that makes it horrible, this is certified unsafe. It's cycling on ultra nightmare mode. Again, this is another thing that has me raise an eyebrow wondering what the fuck they were even doing when making this, because stopping a bike is pretty important and it needs to stop pretty quick, you know, because things move pretty quick out in the world. I feel like that would have been a problem they were privy to, like, hey, can't really stop super efficiently. So, like, let's say your pedal assist is getting a little out of control and you're going a little faster than you want to be coming up to an intersection. Well, you start engaging the brakes, it's not stopping in time, bang, now you're in the road and you're fucking sitting duck.
But it's a terrible e-bike too. Let's examine this and see if it's something that could ever be repaired. Yeah, listen to that. It's like there's a jump in the wheel. It's done. It's garbage.
So you already covered how inefficient it is to use it as a bike, you know, pedaling it. So now he just tries it as a full-blown e-bike, and it immediately fails that test too, because the first little bump in the road there that it hits destroys the back wheel. So he spins it, and it sounds like a bunch of marbles being poured out of a bucket. And he says that it's just kind of cooked. How could an e-bike, which they advertise in the marketing material, you might remember, you know, cruising where the world slows down around you, how can it go that fast and not be able to handle, like, the slightest change in terrain, like from complete flat glass to maybe like a small little, you know, bump? That like, how does that break it?
When you push it along, the pedals move because it's just not very mechanically sound. And so if you push it fast enough, the pedals actually engage the pedal assist, and it's a chain reaction. The bike keeps going. Watch this. Okay, so you're walking your bike and you kind of jog across the street a little bit. And it kicks in. And so you might say, Seth, just turn it off. I can't turn it off. I tried holding down the power button on the battery, everything. The only way to do that is to take the battery out, but I need the keys to take it out, and I don't have the keys on me.
This is what I found to be the most entertaining part about this catastrophe of a bike. How it can just have a mind of its own. It just gains sentience and tries to run away from you as quick as possible. So if you get the pedal assist engaged while you're not on it, you know, fucking ghost riding it, it will activate and just shoot off. So he demonstrates that in like a field, and it goes quite some distance actually. Like, it's not just like a little burst and then peters out. It goes until it falls over and can't go anymore.
Oh no.
That's fucking amazing. That is such a big discovery right there. Hats off to him for finding that, because I actually bet Revo didn't know about that. They probably didn't really put it through its paces and never actually figured that part out. But another thing he mentions is just how miserable it is to ride. It's apparently very painful, and that is something that they must have been aware of, because he mentions that they actually put in a shock absorption system to the seat, and by that I mean they did a very cheap attempt at having a suspension system to absorb some of the shock. He mentions that it really doesn't do anything to help with the ride. It is still pretty brutal. I highly recommend you watch the whole video on just how bad this thing is. For $6.7 million, not only do people not get the product, most people, but the ones that did, they were bestowed a curse from this company. Not a gift. Certainly not what they thought they were getting. So yeah, anyway, that's really about it. See ya.